Okay. The hour of 6:30 PM having arrived, I will call to order this regular meeting of the Planning Board. This meeting is being broadcast live on the City of Keene YouTube channel. The video is also streamed on the city's website and is posted on the website by the end of the next business day, barring any technical difficulties. Anyone wishing to view a copy of the agenda and supporting materials will find it on the city website. To receive electronic copies of future agenda packets, please go to the homepage and subscribe to the city meetings email list. The public and other board members will be recognized to ask questions and make comments on the agenda item under discussion. After being recognized, all remarks are to be made through the chair. Will staff please conduct the roll?
Harold Farrington,
Here.
Roberta Mastrogiovanni,
Here.
Sarah Vizani,
Here.
Ryan Clancy, Kenneth Cost,
Here.
Armando Rangel,
Here.
Mayor Jay Khan,
Here.
and Councillor Mike Remy, and for alternates, Stefan Mayu, Randon Markelon, Tammy Adams, and Michael Hafer.
Here.
Thank you. And Mr. Chair, just trying to see here. I think we have one, or actually, no, two. You can appoint both alternates to vote this evening.
Thank you, Mary.
Yep.
Yes, at this time, I'd like to ask both alternates, Mr. Mayu and Mr. Hafer, to be voting members for this evening's meeting. Okay. We actually have minutes from two meetings. We had the special meeting on May 13th, and then we had our regular meeting on May 20th. So may I ask for a motion to approve the minutes of the May 13th meeting?
I'd like to move to approve the minutes from the meetings May 13th and May 20th.
Yeah, we'll do one at a time.
Okay, from May 13th.
Thanks. A second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Any discussion? We have a motion to approve the minutes of the May 13th meeting. Any discussion, questions, comments? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? Meeting minutes are approved for May 13th. Now I'll entertain a motion for the May 20th minutes.
I'd like to move to approve the meeting minutes from the May 20th meeting.
Thank you. Second, please. Mayor Khan, thank you. Any questions, comments, or corrections to the minutes from May 20th? I have one, if you wouldn't mind taking a look. It's line 262. The motion was approved and seconded, but there's no indication of the vote. Okay, all right. So, as amended, all those in favor of approving the May 20th minutes? Any opposed? Minutes from May 20th are approved as amended. Thank you. Okay, moving right along. We're moving now to the agenda item Roman numeral 3, final vote on conditional approvals. As a matter of practice, the board will issue a final vote on all conditionally approved plans after all of the conditions precedent have been met. This final vote will be the final approval and will start the 30-day appeal clock. I ask the staff if there are any applications tonight ready for a final vote.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mary Brenner, Senior Planner. There are two applications tonight that are ready for a final vote. The first one is SPR-12-17 Modification Number 2, which is a site plan for Archway Farm located at 183 Arch Street. So this application had 3 conditions precedent to final approval, which were that the owner's signature appear on the plan set, the submittal of 5 paper copies and a digital copy of the plan set, and submittal of a security, and a form and amount acceptable to the Community Development Director to cover the cost of sediment and erosion control and landscaping. And all of those conditions have been met.
All right, great. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion for final approval.
I'd like to move to issue final approval for, this is the Arch Street, correct?
Yes.
First.
Ferry Brook, I think. Which one
No,
do we
sorry,
wanna
this
start?
was, I went in the order shown on the memo in the packet, so this is for 183 Arch Street.
Okay.
Final
Arch Street.
approval for SPR-12-17, modification number 2.
May I ask for a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mayor Khan. Any discussion or comments at this time? All right, motion having been made and seconded, let's move to a vote. All those in favor of final approval for SPR 12-17? Any opposed? Motion is, final approval is given for the application.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There is one other application that's ready for final approval.
Thank you.
This is SPR-01-13, modification number 3, which is a site plan for the Cheshire County Shooting Sports Education Foundation located at 19 Ferry Brook Road. And this also had 3 conditions precedent to final approval, which were actually the exact same. They were the owner's signature, submittal of a security for sediment and erosion control, and submittal of the paper copies and digital copy of the final plan set. And all of those conditions have been met.
Thank you. May I ask for a motion for final approval? Ms. Master Giovanni?
I'd move to issue final approval for SPR-01-13, modification number 3 for 19 Ferry Brook Road.
Thank you. Second? Mr. Mayhew, thank you. Motion having, well, any discussion on the final approval or questions? Okay. So let's move at this time to a vote. All those in favor of final approval on SPR-01-13? Any opposed? Final approval is given to SPR-01-13. Thank you. Any others, Mary?
Nope, that was it.
Okay, great, thank you. So at this time, we would move to the public hearing portion, and I think there's been an update since the agenda was published. I received a copy of a memo that came from the applicant's representative to the city planning department, asking to continue the application to the July 22 board meeting, based on some other issues that they're having with approvals for Marlboro zoning. So why don't we put that motion on the table?
I'd like to move to continue PB-2024-05 to the planning board meeting scheduled for July 22nd, 2024 at 6:30 PM.
All right, may I get a second?
Second.
Oh, Counselor Remy, thank you. All right, any discussion at this time or questions? Mary, you
Chair.
have comments?
I just wanted to clarify, if you could open the public hearing, that's necessary in order
Okay.
to continue it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would like to open the public hearing for the following application, PB-2024-05, Congregate Living and Social Services Conditional Use Permit, Live Free Recovery, 973 Marlborough Road. Applicant, Live Free Recovery Services LLC, on behalf of owner BTD Properties LLC, proposes to operate a residential drug and alcohol treatment facility on the property located at 973 Marlborough Road, TMP number 249-004-000. The parcel is 1.1 acre and is located in the rural district. So we're open. Should we ask if the public has any comments? There's no applicant here, or is there? Is the applicant here for this?
No, we advised the applicant that they didn't need to be here tonight because
fine.
they've requested the continuation.
Okay. But since the public meeting is open, I guess I should invite the public to comment if they would like. Would anyone like to comment on this project?
I will.
Please come forward. If you would state your name and address, please.
My name's Bruce Robbins, and I live at 5 Main Street in Marlboro. I'm the residential abutter to this property where they're trying to put this place in. And I've been to all the meetings, and I went to the Marlboro meeting last Wednesday, and they denied doing it under the grounds that they felt that running a 24-hour commercial business, being that close to a residential zone, wasn't gonna work. And I'm the abutter all on 3 sides of that property. I own the property on the west side, the east side, and the south side on the back.
Okay.
And I think it's gonna create a lot of noise and a lot of problem. And at one of the meetings that was in here for the zoning board, there's a old playground from the thing that they had there from the kids that they were taking care of. They wanna turn that into a big smoking area. So that means I'll spend a lot of time out in my own yard, and if they turn that end of that place into a smoking area, I'm not a smoker, and I don't like the smell of cigarettes. And if they're all out there huddled in that area smoking, I mean, that smoking area is only 10 feet from my property. And that's the way the wind blows. Comes out of the north, and it's gonna blow it right into my yard. So when I wanna sit out there in my lawn chair, that's what I'm gonna smell. And I think there's gonna be a lot of noise involved. People that are there for that thing, you know they don't sleep well. They're up and down, up and down. If they're smokers, they're gonna be in and out, banging doors. Multiple ones are gonna go out to have a cigarette. They're gonna be out there yakking at night. I'm not gonna get any sleep. My house is too close to that. And I'm in a residential neighborhood. So I've been against this, and Marlboro didn't approve them. The zoning board didn't approve it. They said that they felt that a 24-hour commercial type of business wasn't going to be fit for the neighborhood. So that's all I got to say.
Thank you for your comments.
Yeah.
Anyone else like to comment on this application? Okay. Seeing no more comments, I will close the public portion of the meeting. Now we'll vote.
Yeah, so,
Let's
the
start
public
the vote.
hearing is still open, but you close the public comments, and
Public
then now
comments.
you
Okay,
can
got it.
have your motion to continue.
Okay,
Thank you.
let's redo the motion just for formality, please.
Move to continue PB-2024-05 to the planning board meeting scheduled for July 22nd, 2024 at 6:30 PM.
Second.
Counselor Remy, thank you. Okay, any board members have comments, questions? Seeing none, let's move to the vote. All those in favor of continuing this application to the July meeting? Any opposed? Okay. Motion to continue is approved. Okay. No other public hearings for this evening. Okay. Next item on the agenda is nomination of a city representative to the Southwest Region Planning Commission Board of Commissioners. So, may I, would you like to comment on this, Mary? Or-
Sure, I can do that. So Mary Brenner, Senior Planner. The city received an interest form from Michael Conway, who is interested in serving on a board. I believe he put down, actually, yep, he did. He put down Southwest Region Planning Commission on the interest form. And so the city's process, which is actually laid out in state statute, is for the planning board to formally nominate the someone, and then that nomination goes to city council, and then they actually vote on it, and then if they approve it, they would be appointed to the SWRPC commissioners. The city gets 3 representatives. I think we actually already have 2. This might be our first time getting 3 people in a really long time. So that'll be good to have a full slate of representatives.
I'm pretty sure Mr. Costa's one, but can you refresh our memories as,
Mayor Khan, I believe, is the other.
congratulations. Man of many hats. Okay, great. All right, so why don't we move to a motion for nominating city representative to SWRPC? Ms. Mastrogiovanni?
I'd like to move to nominate Michael Conway to serve as a commissioner for Southwest Region Planning Commission.
Second?
Second.
Mayor Khan,
I'd
thank
like
you.
to speak to.
Yeah, hold on just one sec. Yeah. So now that we have a motion on the table, I would look for anyone who would like to make comments or ask questions. Mr. Khan, Mayor Khan.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chairman. Todd Horner is here with us, as is the nominee. So I thought if we had time, which it appears we were going to,
We have plenty of that time.
that perhaps Mr. Horner could describe for us initially what the relationship is of planning commissions, boards, to the Southwest Regional Planning Commission, and why it is that Keene has 3, and any other thoughts that he wants to share. Maybe this is an opportunity
Sure.
just to learn more about Southwest Regional Planning.
Yeah,
Commission.
I would welcome that. So, Mr. Horner, if you'd like to come forward.
Great, thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the Planning Board, for giving me the opportunity just to share with you a little bit about Southwest Region Planning Commission. As has been mentioned previously, I think it's been a while since the Planning Commission had 3 commissioners appointed to the commission, so it'd be really great to have a full slate. But for folks who aren't familiar with our organization, I think many of you probably are, but we're a nonprofit public agency, a voluntary association of municipalities, and we're authorized under New Hampshire RSA 36. And our mission is essentially to provide our member municipalities with with technical assistance and guidance on planning issues like land use, housing, economic development, transportation, among other topics. And our relationship with the city is perhaps a little bit different than some of our smaller member communities that don't have a staff to assist with planning issues, to process applications, to handle zoning questions. But I think our relationship with the city has been really productive over the years. Just to give you a flavor of some of the projects and activities that we've worked with the city on, one area is our community development block grant administration activities, which supports housing, infrastructure, other improvements that are intended to benefit low and moderate income people. We're administering a CDBG grant that is part of the funding for the Roosevelt School rehabilitation. So just to give you an example right down the road, the city has representation on our Transportation Advisory Committee, which, among other activities, guides the 10-year planning process for our region. For folks who aren't familiar with the 10-year planning process, it's the long-range transportation planning process that guides investments in transportation infrastructure at the state level. So it's a really important way for us to convey our priorities to New Hampshire DOT, among others, about transportation priorities here in the city and in other places in the region. We're currently assisting with, or leading rather, a feasibility study looking at regional transit, different operating models for improving public transportation options in Keene and the surrounding area. So those are just some quick examples, and our commissioners, as was referenced earlier, oversee activities of the commission. They are our governing body. And from our slate of commissioners, our board of directors are elected, who see on a more day-to-day basis what the staff is prioritizing, what programs we're implementing, what projects we're pursuing. And I think we're a really good vehicle for connecting planning issues here in the city with the broader region. We often serve as a convener, bringing folks together to talk about issues that span municipal boundaries. So we would be glad to have 3 commissioners appointed from the city. The mayor currently serves on our board of directors, and we've been a little bit slow in getting Ken put to work, but we've got a project where we're going to be looking for his assistance in the months to come, and it would be fantastic to have Mr. Conway also as a commissioner. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, any questions for Mr. Horner? I just have one, just refresh our memories, is what's the actual geographical boundaries of the Southwest region?
Yeah, so we have 33 member municipalities. Our service area includes all of Cheshire County, Western Hillsborough County, and 1 town in Sullivan County.
Thank you.
And
Mayor
how,
Con?
how many regional planning commissions are there in the state?
So there are 9 across the state.
And that covers the entire state,
That's
right?
correct.
Great.
Great. Well, thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Mayor Con?
I guess I'd point out that the qualifications of Mr. Conway as an environmental engineer, together with the qualifications of Mr. Cost, who's a landscape architect, I think it's bringing some talent to the Southwest Regional Planning Commission that other towns, smaller towns, without that kind of citizen engagement and experience, I think it is really a good contribution of the city to the Planning Commission.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. Would we like to hear from Mr. Conway? Or? Mr. Conway, would you like to say a few words?
I'll say hello. And some of you may remember me from my actually ultimately failed attempts to increase the utility of the Habitat for Humanity property on Old Walpole Road. So I am involved with Habitat and will continue to be. And that's one of my interests is housing. I think it's everybody's interest these days. But I do have an education and career background in environmental engineering. And so I feel I can be a resource to the Regional Planning Agency in more than one way. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any board members have questions?
Thank you.
Nope, thanks very much. Nice
Thank
to
you.
meet you again. Okay, so we have a motion on the table for nominating Mr. Conway to serve on the commission. Any discussion? All right, so let's move to a vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? All right. Congratulations, Mr. Conway. We are recommending you for approval onto the commission, which now, as according to Mary, I guess goes to the city council for final say. Great, thank you. All right. Next item on our agenda is a master plan update. Mary, would you like to start?
Sure, thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Chair. So I believe a lot has happened since your last meeting in May. So I'll just go through this really quickly, but the city hosted a scenario planning workshop. That was a 2-day workshop. We called it a think tank on May 30th and 31st, and we had about 60 people attend that. And that one, from my perspective, I thought it went really well, although several of you attended, so I'd be curious to hear your thoughts. And then after that scenario planning workshop, one of the outcomes was the identification of key drivers that are sort of driving our future, and an exploration of different plausible future scenarios that could happen for Keene. And at the end of the second day, the participants were asked to sort of indicate on a grid where their preferred future is, where their least preferred future is, and where they think Keene's expected future is. And so that exercise that was done at the think tank sort of gave us a starting point to launch our visioning sessions that we had all last week. So we did, I think, 8 sessions last week, 4 of which were just sort of open to the general public, hour-long sessions. We did some with like the Kiwanis and the Elm City Rotary. We had a presentation to the Master Plan Steering Committee meeting on Monday. Our consultant was at the community night on Tuesday. We sort of took a break on Wednesday night because we didn't want to conflict with Juneteenth. And then there was a presentation to City Council on Thursday. So a lot of activity last week. We had the consultant here in person to gather some input. And the purpose of those visioning sessions was to sort of test and validate the outcomes of the think tank with a broader audience. We are still going to be doing, throughout the month of July, doing visioning sessions sort of on demand. So staff can go to an organization or group and give a presentation. And I believe Mayor Khan is going to be trained to do that as well. And then we're going to have another round of those sessions in August that will be kind of open to the general public again. We don't have exact dates for those yet. And then, so the next step is to hold in August on the 6th, which is the next Master Plan Steering Committee meeting. There's going to be like a roundtable discussion where we're going to be asking the Master Plan Steering Committee to identify the focus areas or the strategic pillars for the plan. So that's going to be kind of a key next step in the process. And all of this information is on the website. It's keenemasterplan.com. There's I believe, a think tank report up there now. There's the community snapshot report with all the economic and demographic data that was collected, the slides from the think tank, all of that information is up there, as well as the other thing I didn't mention was the survey closed. I believe we closed it June 8th or thereabouts, and all of the data from that survey is viewable online, so you can actually go and explore the data and filter it by cohort. So age group, whether or not they live in Keene, whether or not they were involved in the last master plan, so on. I think, Harold, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, and I would encourage you to kind of paw through the website. And when I went through the community snapshot, I had a bunch of questions which I've gotten together, and I'll shortly send to the consultant, see if he can shed some additional light on that. But it's very interesting things in the survey, and if there's stuff you don't understand, that's very reasonable as well, because we want to make this as useful a product as we can possibly make it. So I would encourage you to go through that stuff. As Mary said, it's all on the website. It's laid out pretty well. Yep. Good. Thank you, Mary. Any questions from board members about master plan? I know there's a couple of us that are involved. Mr. Cost.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I went to one of the visioning sessions at the Y, but I was just curious how the others were and what you thought as far as participation and attendance, and that one as well. Any quick feedback from what came, not the results of them, but how you think they were,
Yeah.
participation was?
Yes, so great question. So yeah, the session at the Y, I want to say we had maybe 8 people total. So that was a smaller session. It was actually kind of a really great discussion though that I think we had. I wasn't at the session at the senior center. I believe they said it was around 20 people, 15 to 20. And then I'd say that was about what we had. I think we had 17 people at Heberton on Thursday and maybe 15 on Friday. I don't recall how many people we talked to at the community night, but that wasn't a full visioning session. It was more just like quick conversations with folks as they stopped by. And then the Elm City Rotary, I want to say, was around 60 plus people. So that was probably our biggest session. And Kiwanis,
Yeah.
I'm going to guess 20. Yeah, we didn't actually do a sign-in sheet yeah. But that's approximately about how many people we reached.
Thank you. I mean, it sounds like it's, a few of them, at least one was very significant, but even the small ones, people had some pretty good input, I thought, so.
Good. Any other questions or comments? Okay. All right. Next on our agenda is staff updates. And I see, Mary, you've listed potential training topics. I don't know if we had some listed or we're looking to solicit input.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The latter, actually. So we had discussed doing trainings with the planning board. I believe this might have been while I was out, but what I was told was that you had discussed doing trainings to keep everybody sort of current with your regulations. And so what I wanted to do tonight, I kind of brainstormed a list of topics that I thought might be useful for you. I wanted to run them by you, get your feedback, see if I'm missing anything. I did have a preliminary conversation with the steering committee, and so I have some of their ideas written down. So the topics that I have right now, the first one would be site plan review. So that would be going over your authority for site plan review and the purpose of it, thresholds in our regulations for major and minor site plan review, what the major site plan review process looks like in Keene. So kind of like from when an applicant comes in with an inquiry to getting their final approval, what does that process look like? Your role in reviewing the site plan, like things you should be considering, an overview of the site development standards, and then some other topics I wanted to just touch on in relation to that would be off-site improvements, your time frame to act, and the types of decisions that you can make, and what should be going into all of that. So that's kind of a hefty topic in and of itself, but I put that under one bucket. The second topic would be subdivision review, so kind of following that same format, going over your authority, the purpose, the process, your role in reviewing the subdivision standards, and all of that. Another potential topic would be driveways. So the planning board has, in the city of Keene, the planning board has jurisdiction over commercial driveways. Single and two-family driveways are done through the city engineer. But we typically do driveway approvals as part of a site plan approval. However, there are distinct driveway standards that need to be met anytime a curb cut, or what we call in the city now, a street access is being modified or a new one's being created, anything like that. There's specific criteria that need to be met. So I'd just be going over those standards. Another potential topic would be conditional use permits. So going over what those are, what the purpose of them is, the types of conditional use permits that we have here in Keene, And in Keene, we do something called concurrent review, where you do the review of the conditional use permit at the same time as any other approvals that are required. Another topic would be the zoning ordinance, so doing just an overview of that and its relationship to your subdivision regulations and site plan regulations, et cetera, as well as the amendment process and your role in that. And then finally, earth excavation permits. We have only ever had one, but it is, I put it on there because I believe that one will be around for a long time, and they'll be coming in periodically for amendments to it. So it definitely, I think, would be helpful to have an understanding both of our local regulations as well as the state regulations with respect to earth excavation. And that's what I have on my list. If you think I'm missing anything, happy to add to it. And if you think any of those things aren't necessary, I could take them off. That's just what I brainstormed.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Hopefully people were listening closely. But why don't we do this? Why don't we just go around and you can throw out the two that you think would most be helpful to you, or if there's something else that you would like, you can add that as well. So, Mr. Hafer, let's start with you.
Is there a visual list available for visual learners of those? The major site one sounded interesting to me, thinking about, assuming that's like it goes to make more major development, like the Home Depot, that long project, the Home Depot, Marketplace, those, understanding nuances of. Sorry, yeah. So that one in particular, the major site, seems like a good topic to me.
Thank you. Mr. Cost?
Thank you. Before I do that, can I do a shout out to Mary for a
course.
presentation? I listened in on your presentation on Thursday, I think it was Thursday, where you do so much you don't remember, where you were talking about creative or innovative ideas in zoning for Keene. You did it with the planner from Derry, and I just thought that was really well done. I think, I forgot who the sponsor was, the state planning, but it was, so you had a lot to say about what we're doing, and it was a live broadcast, and really interesting, so thanks. I think site plan review is important, and for me, the conditional use permit. There's one more thing that would be helpful for me, anyway. A little bit maybe of the process of the planning board itself, like sometimes what are we voting on, and, is it just acceptance of completion, or is it, what are the different steps that we go through? I think it might be nice to map out, so it's, at least for me, more clear. So, thanks.
Thank you. Councilor Remy?
Thank you. I did not know there was going to be a quiz. But I generally agree so far, like, the ones we deal with more often are the site plan reviews and the CUPs, and I think the understanding what we're supposed to consider during going through those, and like, hey, this is in our purview or this is not, especially when you come into CUPs of like, this is what we're saying yes to versus what we're not allowed to consider in our decision. Same with site plan reviews, but that's the piece that I think gets sticky sometimes, is like, this isn't in our purview.
Thank you. Ms. Mastrogiovanni?
I would say definitely the site plan reviews, the subdivision reviews, and all the criteria that we use to approve those subdivisions. Just, the general A to Z. I think there's 14 points that we need to constantly review. And I kind of lose track of those 14 things sometimes. So I think reviewing those would be great.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll pass to the mayor if he has any particular ones he wants to see. Mayor Khan?
Answer a question with a question.
Okay.
I'm wondering if any of these are more stale than the others, meaning, and that the planning staff are thinking needs an update in order to be more useful.
So I would say that the planning board's regulations, we have sort of like this long running list, Megan's nodding her head because she maintains it, of changes to the land development code, which is it's a document that includes all of your regulations as well as the zoning ordinance and the historic district regulations. Everything's all in one place. And I would say most of the potential changes that we've identified are in Article 25, which is the article that talks about like the process and the application submittal items and things like that. So I would say it's less about site plans versus subdivisions versus conditional use permits, and that Article 25, we've just identified a bunch of sort of tweaks. Then we have identified some of the things in your site development standards that we just kind of run into over and over again as issues that we wanted to bring to your attention just to have a discussion about them and see if you had any thoughts about how, if you want to keep it as is or if there's opportunity there to take a look at those. But yeah, I think everything has been updated fairly recently because the land development code was done in 2021. But there's definitely always updates that need to happen and issues that get identified. Did that answer your question?
So just on the basis of frequency, I would think that a site plan and conditional use are the most frequent applications that I'm familiar with before this body. So queuing us up on those, but if there are policy changes, makes sense to get queued up on those too.
Thank you. Mr. Rangel?
I think I would agree with Councilor Remy. Site plan reviews, CUPs, and also the subdivisions. I think those are really great to review.
Great, thank you. Ms. Vazani?
Well, for me, I'm gonna just say one, if that's okay. Having never been on a site visit, that would be for me, what am I looking for when I go there? What is the top items that I am paying attention to? So for me, that would be the most important one and the only one right now.
Great. Mr. Mayhew?
I'd say CUPs.
Okay, thanks. Hopefully that's some help for you, Mary.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, could Mr. Mayu please repeat his comment for the minute taker to
Oh,
hear?
okay. Do you have your mic on there?
I do now.
You do?
Apologies.
Great.
I said CUPs.
Thank you. The ubiquitous Mr. Haas.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ed Haas, 114 Jordan Road. As part of the training process, one thing that you might incorporate into it as kind of an overview is efficiency, expeditious efficiency. And one of the great frustrations for all of us, everybody, citizens, councilors, boards, is how long it takes to get through anything. Sometimes that's good, sometimes it's not good, but anything you can examine as to make processes more efficient along the way. And a training session might be a great time to look at that. So thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comment. Okay. You all set with that?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. And I did have one other quick update, if I may.
Yeah, please.
Great. So this is really quick. I just wanted to make you aware of this change that's happening soon. So starting on July 1st, Megan Fortson, who is currently our planning technician, will be moving into the position of planner. So she will be, you'll be seeing more of her. She'll be coming to these meetings more often. And Evan Clements, who is currently a planner, is going to be, he's going to remain a planner, but he's going to be given the title of zoning administrator as well. So zoning is sort of moving under planning. So just wanted to give you a quick update on that. Yep.
Okay, great, thank you. Congratulations, Megan. All right, next item is new business. Any board member have suggestions for new business? Okay. Moving right along to the upcoming dates of interest. So, the next meeting of the Joint Committee of the Planning Board and PLD will be July 8th at 6:30 PM. The Planning Board Steering Committee will be July 9th, 11 AM. The Planning Board Site Visit will be July 17th, 8 AM, contingent upon an application that requires a site visit. And then finally, the next meeting of the Planning Board itself is July 22, 6:30 PM in these chambers. Okay. So with that, I would like to move to adjourn this meeting at 7:16.